Cicadas are officially here. We have seen the bugs for days now, popping out of the soil and making their mark in the Chicago area and all across Illinois. One thing we know about cicadas are they are noisy, and that can be difficult for people or children who have autism or sensitivities to sound. So joining us now to talk about that is Dr. Rachel Follmer, an assistant professor of developmental behavioral pediatrics at Northwestern University and a physician at Lurie Children's Hospital. Dr. Follmer, thanks so much for being with us this morning to talk about this.
Thank you for having me.
First, explain how cicadas and cicada noise, which can be very loud, can impact children on the autism spectrum or those with sensitivities to sound or other sensory issues.
Yeah, many children on the spectrum can have a variety of sensory differences, and noise sensitivity is a very common challenge that we see. And there's not much that we can necessarily do to change how loud sounds are, but we can prepare children and help them understand that when they go outside with the cicadas that they might hear more sound than they normally do, which might help them tolerate being outside with an increased noise when they might not normally.
So specifically, what would that entail? Talking to them in terms of preparation? In some cases, would it be, I mean, you know, some children wear earphones if they're going to be in a loud environment. Sort of talk specifically about what that preparation might look like.
Yeah, so there's a variety of things parents can do, just like preparing for the 4th of July or another noisy event. If your child tolerates having headphones or earplugs, they can use that. Also, just walking through what's going to happen using something that we call a social story, which is a story that walks a child through an experience before they do it, can help them understand kind of what is going to happen, what they might experience, and what they can do if they're uncomfortable, how they can communicate to their parents that they want to leave, or come up with a plan of how they can kind of sense if their child is uncomfortable in those situations.
I know one thing we used to do with our youngest in certain situations, he had some sensory issues, is we would say, okay, in 2 minutes we're gonna, let's say, walk outside, and then you will hear some very loud noise. I mean, literally sort of set the stage step by step in advance. I mean, would that be recommended as well?
Yeah, and that essentially is just a verbal social story that you're doing. You're kind of walking them through each of those steps that's going to occur and what that experience might be like. And you can show pictures, you can bring up videos that show the sounds of the cicadas. You can go over and show them the ways they can communicate if they want to leave, especially if you have a child who uses alternative communication, like a tablet or pictures to communicate. Practicing those beforehand can help in the moment if they're being overwhelmed by the sounds.
All right, really important information for parents of children who might be on the, spectrum, and also who have other sensory issues related to sound. So, Dr. Rachel Follmer, thank you so much for joining us this morning and providing that insight. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.